Jai Shishi Guru Goranga Jai Shishi Guru Goranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Juki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Juki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupar Ashtara Shata Shishimar Bhaktivedānta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashimara Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Śrīla Prabhupāda Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashimara Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupara Shatara Shatashimara Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Śrīla Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Śrīla Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Śrīla Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. No, I'll do full Jai Bani. Jai Śrīla Baladev Vijabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai Śrīla Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Pad Ki Jai Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Shri Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Shri Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandadi Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namachaya Śrīla Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Ki Jai Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Jai Shrimad Bhagavad-gītā Ki Jai Jai Shri Shrimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai Jai Shri Bhagavad-gītā Ki Jai Shri Kurukshetra Dham Ki Jai. The speaker of Bhagavad-gītā, Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chandra Ki Jai. The hearer of Bhagavad-gītā, Shri Arjuna Ki Jai. Jai Shri Mahabharat Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Dvaipayan Veda Vyasadev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. The commentaries, especially of Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Śrīla Baladev Vijabhushan, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Svāmī Prabhupāda, and my Śrīla Gurudev Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, all their commentaries Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranams, Kana Haladar Prabhu, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji, Yugal Kishore Kishori Didi, Deepika Gupta Didi, and Hari Priya Didi, and I see maybe Indira Mataji, and I see a ton of devotees on YouTube and Facebook. I'm not ignoring you. I don't know who you are unless you write a comment. So, but yeah, Dandavat Pranams, everybody watching now, and also devotees watching the replay later on. Haribol. So, today we are commencing our Haribol Sudevi Didi, Hare Krishna. So today we are commencing our 6-day recital of Śrīmad Bhagavad-gītā. We will be concluding, we'll be concluding our recital on Mokṣada Ekādaśī, which is the auspicious day Śrī Kṛṣṇa spoke the Bhagavad-gītā to Arjuna. So yeah, that's on I think it's on the 11th, right? That's 6 days from now. I divided all the chapters so that we'll be reading around approximately 5,000 words a day. One day we're going to read 6,000 words, but yeah, I don't know how long this is going to take. My guess is that it's going to take an hour and a half every day. But we'll see. We'll see at the end. We will recite the Sanskrit and then read Śrīla Prabhupāda's translation. I think last time we did the Bhagavad-gītā recital, we read my Śrīla Gurudev's translations, and this year we're reading Śrīla Prabhupāda's translations. So first, we will begin with a Mangalacharan. Also yesterday, I read a bunch of Mangalacharans. We went through the Gita Mahatma and introductions by Śrīla Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, by Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Svāmī Prabhupāda, and by my Param Gurudev. He wrote an amazing article called Self-Submission in the Bhagavad-gītā, and he explains how Krishna, in Bhagavad-gītā, he doesn't just explain Atmanivedan, self-submission, self-surrender, devoid of any permanent relationship with Krishna, but my Param Gurudev showed through a couple of verses how he was also showing the topmost Atmanivedan in Rag Marg, and like in Raganu, like in the following in the wake of the devotees of Krishna who have a permanent relationship with him in Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhur. If you want to see that, you can find it on my YouTube channel. Today, we will first we'll do Mangalacharan. I've just added in something in the Gaudiya, well, we recently translated for the Gaudiya Giti Gutra, something my Param Gurudev very strongly emphasized Charan is inauspicious. So we will first do the Mangalacharan. We'll do the Mangalacharan every day. Then we will read what do you call it? The prologue? Yeah, the prologue. Try to sing it in that melody. It's way too much. Let's I'll stop talking now. Haribo, Nitai Mukeshji Chat. That was strange. My internet connection cut out. Okay, if my internet connection cuts out again, then I will have to I'll use my hotspot, but hopefully it doesn't cut out again. But yeah, if I ever do disappear, just wait a few minutes and I'll be back. Haribo, Ganga Mataji, and Vrinda Didi, Hare Krishna. Okay. Mangala Charan. I just quickly put this together. I'll fix it up more nicely later on. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितं पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारते अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद् गीते भवर्वेशिने. This is the meditation on Śrī Gītā. I'll read the translation. O Bhagavad-gītā, song of the Supreme Lord Himself, you are the bestower of Arjuna's enlightenment. You have been woven into the scripture Mahabharata by the ancient sage Śrīla Bhaktivedānta. In 18 chapters, you are the rain of ever-flowing nectar, non-different from the Lord. O Mother, I meditate upon you. May you graciously enter my heart. Namostute vyasa vishala buddhe Fularvindayata patra netra Yena tvaya bharata tailapurna Prajwalito Jnana Maya Pradipa. Obeisances unto Srila Vyasadeva. O Srila Vyasadeva, of formidable intelligence, whose eyes resemble the long petals of the blooming lotus flower, and who ignited the lamp of knowledge filled with the oil of the Mahabharata, I offer my obeisances unto you. Prapanna parijataya totra vitraya kapanaye Jnanamudraya Krishnaya Gitamrita Duhe Namah. Obeisances to the Lord as the chariot driver of Arjuna. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, who fulfills the wishes of his surrendered devotees. He holds a driving rod in one hand, while the other is poised in the expression of instruction. He is the milker of the nectar of the Gita. Sarvopanishado gavo dogda gopalanandana Parthovatsa sudhir bhokta dogdam gitamritam mahat. This is the glories of the Gita. The crest jewels of the Vedas, all the Upanishads, are as the cow. And the milker of the cow is Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the son of Nanda Maharaj. Arjuna is the calf. The nectar of the Gita is the milk. And the fortunate devotees are the enjoyers of that milk. Vasudeva sutang devam kansa chanuramardanam devaki paramanandam krishnang vande jagargurum. Obeisances unto Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa. I bow unto the lotus feet of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the son of Vasudeva, the vanquisher of the demons Kamsa and Chanura, the joy of Mother Devaki, and the universal teacher. Would have been, actually, I should have added in Mahaprabhu's pranam. I'll just say it now. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. I'll add that before later on tomorrow. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya devi tvang nayamang charanantikam bhaktya vihina aparadha lakshaya Kshiptashta kamandita madhe Kripa maitam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanaravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. On Hari Mohini Didi and Krishna Mai Didi. Um, all right. Oh, and today, because of the introduction and everything, uh, I think we might end a little bit later. I'm really sorry. Krishna Mai Didi, it might be too late for you. If it's too late and you need to go to sleep, you can still catch the replay. This is being streamed on YouTube. Um, okay. So now we will read the prelude, or setting the scene. That's what it's called, setting the scene. Let's see, how long is this? Oh, never mind. Oh, okay, I'll read this anyways. Um, okay, so this is from Śrīla Prabhupāda's edition of Bhagavad-gītā, as it is. Setting the scene. Although widely published and read by itself, Bhagavad-gītā originally appears as an episode in the Mahabharata, the epic Sanskrit history of the ancient world. The Mahabharata tells of events leading up to the present age of Kali. It was at the beginning of this age, some 50 centuries ago, that Lord Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gītā to his friend and devotee Arjuna. Their discourse, one of the greatest philosophical and religious dialogues known to man, took place just before the onset of war. A great fratricidal war, is that how you say? A fratricidal conflict between the 100 sons of Dhritarashtra and on the opposing side, their cousins, the Pandavas, or sons of Pandu. Dhritarashtra and Pandu were brothers born in the Kuru dynasty, descending from King Bharat, a former ruler of the earth, from whom the name Mahabharata derives. Because Dhritarashtra, the elder brother, was born blind, the throne that otherwise would have been his was passed down to the younger brother, Pandu. When Pandu died at an early age, his 5 children, Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakula, and Sahadev, came under the care of Dhritarashtra, who in fact became, for the time being, the king. Thus, the sons of Dhritarashtra and those of Pandu grew up in the same royal household. Both were trained in the military arts by the expert Drona and counseled by the revered grandfather of the clan, Bhishma. Yet the sons of Dhritarashtra, especially the eldest, Duryodhana, hated and envied the Pandavas. And the blind and weak-minded Dhritarashtra wanted his own sons, not those of Pandu, to inherit the kingdom. Thus, Duryodhana, with Dhritarashtra's consent, plotted to kill the young sons of Pandu. And it was only by the careful protection of their uncle Vidura and their cousin Lord Krishna that the Pandavas escaped the many attempts against their lives. Now, Lord Krishna was not an ordinary man, but the supreme Godhead himself, who had descended to earth and was playing the role of a prince in a contemporary dynasty. In this role, he was also the nephew of Pandu's wife Kunti, or Pritha, the mother of the Pandavas. So both as a relative and as the eternal upholder of religion, Krishna favored the righteous sons of Pandu and protected them. Ultimately, however, the clever Duryodhana challenged the Pandavas to a gambling match. In the course of that fateful tournament, Duryodhana and his brothers took possession of Draupadi, the chaste and devoted wife of the Pandavas, and insultingly tried to strip her naked before the entire assembly of princes and kings. Krishna's divine intervention saved her, but the gamble, which was rigged, cheated the Pandavas of their kingdom and forced them into 13 years of exile. Upon returning from exile, the Pandavas rightfully requested their kingdom from Duryodhana, who bluntly refused to yield it. Duty bound as princes to serve in public administration, the five Pandavas reduced their request to a mere 5 villages. But Duryodhana arrogantly replied that he wouldn't spare them enough land into he wouldn't spare them enough land into which to drive a pin. Throughout all this, the Pandavas had been consistently tolerant and forbearing, but now war seemed inevitable. Nonetheless, as the princes of the world divided, some siding with the sons of Dhritarashtra, others with the Pandavas, Krishna himself took the role of messenger for the sons of Pandu and went to the court of Dhritarashtra to plead for peace. When his pleas were refused, war was now certain. The Pandavas, men of the highest moral stature, recognized Krishna to be the supreme personality of Godhead, whereas the impious sons of Dhritarashtra did not. Yet Krishna offered to enter the war according to the desire of the antagonists. As God, he would not personally fight, but whoever so desired might avail himself of Krishna's army. And the other side could have Krishna himself as an advisor and helper. Duryodhana, the political genius, snatched Krishna's armed forces, while the Pandavas were equally eager to have Krishna himself. In this way, Krishna became the charioteer of Arjuna, taking it upon himself to drive the fabled bowman's chariot. This brings us to the point at which Bhagavad-gītā begins, with the two armies arrayed, ready for combat, and Dhritarashtra anxiously inquiring of his secretary Sanjay, what did they do? The scene is set, with only the need for a brief note regarding this translation and commentary. Okay, I'm just going to skip that part because we already know about that. And now, just quickly, I just downloaded this right before I started. This is the Gita Subodhini, I think by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. And I just want to, so Bhagavad-gītā is divided into 3 sections. The first part, part 1, is on the topic of Karma Yoga. That's chapters 1 to 6. Then the middle is the topmost portion, just like a treasure chest is kept inside. So inside Bhagavad-gītā, Karma Yoga is like the container, Bhakti Yoga is the treasure inside the container, and then Jnana Yoga, which is the last section, is the lid. I think I remember hearing an explanation like that. Anyhow, so chapters 1 through 6 is Karma Yoga. Chapters 7 through 12 is Bhakti Yoga. And chapters 13 through 18 is Jnana Yoga. And I'll just quickly go through. This is a summary of chapter 1. So observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So first is Dhritarashtra's inquiry to Sanjay. Then verses 2 to 11. You can see on the screen here the verse numbers. Duryodhana's fear and diplomacy in describing the armies. Then the blowing of conch shells. Then Arjuna observes the armies. Then Arjuna gives reasons not to fight. And then the chapter ends with Arjuna being grief-stricken, decides not to fight. Yes, of course. Okay, so now we are going to begin the recital. Chapter 1, Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. Dhritarashtra uvacha Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yayutsava Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kema Kurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do? 2. Sanjaya Uvacha Drishtva tu Pandavanikam Vyudam Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanama Bravit. Sanjay said, O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhan went to his teacher and spoke the following words. Pashaitang Panduputranam Acharya Mahating Chamum Vyudam Drupada Putrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. So Duryodhan said, O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupad. Atra Shura Maheshvasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharata. Here in this army are many heroic bowmen, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yuyudhan, Virata, and Drupad. Drishtaketushchekitana Kashirajascha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Shaibhyascha Narapungava. There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, 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 Kashiraj, Purujit, Kunti Bhoja, and Shaibhya. Yudamanyuscha Vikranta, Uttamojascha Viryavan, Sobhadro Dropadeyascha, Sarvayeva Maharata. There are the mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. Asmakam tu vishishtaye tani bodha dvijottama nayaka mama sanyasya samgyartam tan pravimite. But for your information, O best of the Brahmins, let me tell you about the captains who are specially qualified to lead my military force. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Simiting Jaya Ashvatama Vikarnascha Somadatis Tataivacha. There are personalities like you, Bhishma, like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashvatthama, Vikarna, and the sons of Somadatta called Bhurishrava, who are always victorious in battle. Anyecha bahava shura mararte tyakta jivita nana shastra praharana sarve yuddha visharadha. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. Aparyaptam tarasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam paryaptam tvidame balang bhima bhirakshitam. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. And according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, this also has an opposite meaning. It could be understood in two ways. Anyhow, ayaneshu cha sarveshu yatha bhagang avastita bhishmameva birakshantu bhavanta sarva evahi. All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. Tasya sanjanayan harsham guru vriddha pitamaha singhanadam vinadyochai shankhang dadmo pratapavan. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Tata shankascha bhairyascha panavanakago mukha sahasaiva vyahanyanta sashabdastu molo bhavat. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Tata shvetair hayar yukte mahati syandane stito madhava pandavaschaiva devyo shanko pradadmatu. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Panchajanyam Hrishikesho Devadattang Dhananjaya Pondram Dadmo Mahashankam Bhimakarma Vrikodara. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell, called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and the performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell, called Pondra. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sughosha Manipushpako Kashascha Parameshvasa Shikhandi cha Maharata Drishtadumno Viratascha Satyakischa Parajita Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvasha Prithivipate Sobhadrascha Mahabahu Shankhan Dadmo Pratak Pratak. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sughosha and Manipushpaka. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. Saghosho dhratarashtrana hridayani vyadarayat nabhascha prithiving chaiva tumulo bhyanunadayam. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Ata vyavastitan drishtva dhartarashtran kapidvaja pravrite shastra sampate dhanur udyama pandava rishikesham tada vakyam idang aha mahipate. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words. Arjuna uvacha Senayorubayor madhye rathang sthapaya mechuta yavareta niriksheham yodukamanavastitan karmaya sahayodhavyam asmin rana samudyame. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies, so that I may see those present here who desire to fight, and with whom I must contend in this great trial of arms. Yotsamanam aviksheham ya etetra samagata dhartarashtasya durbuddher yudhe priya chikirstava. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya uvacha evam ukto hrishikesho gudakeshena bharata senayorubayor
Hey,
madhye
let's get a large
stapayitva
takeaway with brown
ratottamam.
rice,
1 second.
kofta, and
Okay. Yeah. Senayorab ubayor madhye stapayitva ratottamam. Sanjay said, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. Bhishma Drona Pramukhata Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, Lord Krishna said, Just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Tatra pashyat stitan parthan, pitrin atta pitamahan, acharyan matulan bhratrin, putran potran sakingstata, shvasuran suhridaschaiva senayorubhayorapi. There Arjuna could see, within the midst of the armies of both parties, his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. Tan samikshya sakonteya sarvan bandhun avastitan kripaya paraya vishto vishidan idama bravit. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. Arjuna uvacha drishtve mang swajanang Krishna yuyutsung samupastitam siddhanti mama gatrani mukam cha parishushati. Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up. Vepatuscha sharire me romaharshascha jayate gandivam srangsate hastat tvakchaiva paridahyate. My whole body is trembling. My hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Na chashoknamyavastat avastatum brahmati vachame mana nimitani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune, O Krishna, O killer of the Keshi demon? Nacha shreya nupashyami hatva sajvanamahave na kankshe vijayam Krishna nacha rajam sukanicha. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness. King no rajena govinda, king bhogar jivitena va, yeshamarte kankshitam no, rajang bhogha sukhani cha. Taime vastita yude, pranang tyaktva dhanani cha, acharya pitara putras, tataiva cha pitamaha. Matula shvashura potra, shyala sambandhinas tata, etana hantumichhami, Gnatopi Madhusudana Api Trailokya Rajasya Heto Kim Nu Mahi Krite Nihatya Dharta Rashtrana Kapriti Syaj Janardana. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudan, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Papam evashrayed asman, hatvaitan atatayina, tasman narha vayang hantum, dhartarashtran sabandhavan, swajanam hi katang hatva, sukhina syama madhava. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Yadyapyete na pashyanti lobopahata chetasa kulakshaya kritang dosham mitra drohe chapatakam katam nageyam asmabi paparasma nivartitum kulakshaya kritam dosham prapashyarbir janardana. O Janardhan, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? Kulakshaye pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo bhavatyuta. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Adharma bhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriya strishu dushta suvarshneya jayate varna sankara. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hyesham lupta pindodaka kriya. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. Doshar etai kula gnanam varna sankara karakai utsadyante jati dharma kula dharmascha shashvata. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Utsanna kuladharmana manusyanang janardana narake niyatang vaso bhavatityanushrushruma. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yadrajasva sukhalobhena antung swajanamudyata. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen. Yadimam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanaya dhartarashtra dhartarashtrarane hanyus tanmekshema tarang bhavit. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Sanjaya uvacha evam uktvarjuna sankhe ratopasta upavishat visreja sacharang chapam shoka samvigna manasa. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. And now we begin chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. And today we're only reading the first 2 chapters. I think chapter 2 is 72 verses, if I remember correctly. Maybe let's just see a quick summary of chapter 2. 1 second, let me just find it. Here, okay. So contents of the Gita summarized. So the first 10 verses are Arjuna's indecision in accepting Lord Krishna as his guru. So first, Lord Krishna chastises Arjuna and disapproves his so-called compassion. Then Arjuna gives further doubts and his confusion. Then Arjuna surrenders to Krishna and Krishna begins to speak. Then Krishna speaks on Gyan or Sankhya, an analysis of body and soul. So Krishna says, I'm not going to read all that. We'll read this tomorrow. But then verses 31 to 37, Krishna talks about sakama karma. Performing prescribed duties gives enjoyment. Then verses 38 to 53, Krishna talks about nishkam karma yoga or buddhi yoga. That means detached work without reactions, not being desirous of the fruit of your actions. Then verses 54 to 72 is about sthita pragya, the qualities of a liberated soul, and jivan mukta. And that's how this chapter ends. All right, so let's begin. And tomorrow I'll read the more detailed summary so that we get the flow of the whole Bhagavad-gītā. Okay. Oh, and Hare Krishna, Sumanshil, Patita Pavani Didi, Vidyalalasa Didi, Chatamai Mataji, Niloy Prabhu, and everybody else who joins. Hare Krishna. Okay. Chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized. Sanjaya Uvacha Tang tata kripaya vishtam ashrupurna kulekshana vishidantam idang vakyam uvacha madhusudana. Sanjaya said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudan, Krishna, spoke the following words. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutastva Kashmalamidam Vishame Samupastitam Anarya Jushtamasvargyam Akirti Karamarjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. Klaibyam gama partha naitatvayupapadyate shudram hridaya dorbalyam tyaktva tishta parantapa. O son of Pritha, do not yield to this degrading impotence. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart, and arise, O chastiser of the enemy. Arjuna uvacha katang bhishmam aham sankhe dronam cha madhusudana ishubhi pratiyotsyami pujarha varisudana. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Kuruna hatva hi mahanubhavan shreyo bhoktum bhaiksham api haloke hatvarta kamangstu guruni haiva bhunjiya bhogan rudhira pradigdan. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Nachaita virma kataran nogariyo yadvajayema yadivano jayeyu yane vahatva najijiva shamas devastita pramukhe dhartarashtra. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we killed the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield. Karpanya dosho pahata svabhava prishami tang dharma samudacheta yachreyasya nishchitang bruhitan me Shishyasteham shadimang tvam prapanna. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyad yachokam uchoshanam indriyanam avapya bhumav asapatnam riddham rajam suranam apichadipatyam. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Sanjaya Uvacha. Evam uktva Hrishikesham Gurakesha Parantapa Nayotsya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnem Babhuvaha. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Tam uvacha Hrishikesha prahasan iva bharata senayoru bhayor madhye vishidantam idang vacha. O descendant of Bharata, at that time, Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Let me just look at the summary again. Okay, so now these next verses up to 30 is on the topic of Gyan, or Sankhya, analysis of body and soul. Do not lament unnecessarily. All individuals exist eternally, and changing bodies is natural. And tolerate dualities. Equanimity is eligibility for liberation. Then the soul never dies, and the body is perishable. Changing bodies is similar to changing clothes. The qualities of the eternal soul and birth and death are inevitable. No need to lament for the eternal soul. Okay, so up to verse 30 is on Gyan and Sankhya. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ashochan Anvashochastvang Pragyabadangscha Bhashase Gatasun Agatasungscha Nanushochanti Pandita. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam ne me janadipa nachaiva na bhavishyama sarve vayang ata parang. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram yovanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Matra sparshastu konteya shitoshna sukha dukkada agama payino nityas tangstatikshvasa bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Yang hina vyatayante te purushang purusharshaba samaduka sukang dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata, ubhayorapi drishtontas, tvanayos tattvadarshibi. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existence, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvang idang tatang vinasham avyayasyasya na kaschit kartumarhati. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirina anashino prameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable, and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Ya enang veti hantarang, yashaenang manyate hatam, ubhoto na vijanito, nayam hanti nahanyate. Neither he who thinks the living entity, neither he who thinks the living entity, the slayer, nor he who thinks neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. Najayate mriyate va kadachin, nayam bhutva bhavita, nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya. Ajo nitya shashvato yang purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Veda vinashinam nityam ya enam ajam avyayam katang sa purusha partha kam ghata yati hantikam. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn, and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? Vasangsi jirnani yata vihaya navani grinati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnanyanyani sangyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati maruta. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burns by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Achedoyam, adahyoyam, akledyo shosya evacha, nitya sarva katasthanur, achaloyam sanatana. The individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble, and can never be burned, can be neither burned nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Avyaktoyam achintyoyam avikaryoyam uchate tasmad evainam viditvaina nanushochitum arhasi. It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, You should not grieve for the body. Ata chainam nitya jatam nityam va manyasek mritam tathapi tva mahabaho nainam shochitum arhasi. If, however, you think that the soul, or the symptoms of life, will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyarthe na tvam shochitum arhasi. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. Avyaktadini bhutani vyaktamadhyani bharata avyaktane dadanyeva tatra ka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidena, ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya, ascharyavat chainam anya shrinoti, shrutvapyenam veda na chaiva kaschit. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Dehi nityam avadyoya, dehe sarvasya bharata, tasmat sarvani bhutani, na tvam shochitum arhasi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Okay, so that was the end on the topic of Gyan and Sankhya, an analysis of body and soul, or matter and spirit. And now, for the next 7 verses, or 8 verses, Krishna is going to speak on sakam karma. Performing prescribed duty gives enjoyment. So first, the first 2 verses, doing prescribed duty of fighting open doors for heaven. Yeah, performing a prescribed duty of fighting opens the doors for heaven. Then, by avoiding fights, you will incur sin, infamy, and criticism. And then the benefit of fighting, you'll gain victory, you'll kingdom and victory, and heaven and defeat. If you win, if you're victorious, you'll attain the kingdom of the whole world. You'll have control of the whole world. Or if you're defeated, you'll attain heaven. So that's what he speaks in the next 7 verses. Yeah, 8 verses. So dharmam apicha vyeksha na vikampitum arhasi dharmyadhi yudachtreyonyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. Yadrichaya chupapannam swargadvaram apavritam sukhina kshatriya partha labhante yudamedrisham. O Partha, happy are the kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. Atachetvam imam dharmyam sangramam na karishyasi tata swadharmam kirting cha hitva papam avapsyasi. If, however, you do not perform your religious duty of fighting, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties, and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. akirtam chapi bhutani kathayishyanti te vyayam sambhavitasya chakirtir maranad atirichyate. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Vayadranaduparatam mangsyante tvam maharatha yesham chatvam pahumato bhutva yasya sila gavam. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Avachavadangscha bahum vadishyanti tavahita nindantas tava samartyam tato dukkhatarang nukim. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? I heard that in the Indian army, they recite this verse here. Hato va prapsyasi svarga jitva va bhukshase mahe tasmad utishta kunteya yudhaya krita nishchaya. O son of Kunti, either you'll be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you'll conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Okay, so that was on the topic of sakam karma. Performing prescribed duty gives enjoyment. Now, from verses 38 to 53, Krishna will speak on nishkama karma yoga or buddhi yoga. That means detached work without desiring the fruits of the reactions, just doing it complete. And in this section, he's going to this verse that we're going over next is dutifully fight with equanimity, then you'll incur no sin. Then buddhi yoga, there's no loss in this yoga. Then vyavasayatmika intelligence and Vedic karma kanda. Then how to practice nishkam karma yoga. And then finally, benefits of acting in buddhi yoga. These are the topics in these next verses up to 53. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labho jaya jayo tato yudhaya yujyasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. Esha te bhita sankhye buddhir yoge tvimam shrinu buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through an analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo navidyate swalpam apasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushaka yanantascha buddhayo vyavasayina. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Yam imam pushpitam bacham pravadantya pravadantya vipaschita vedavada ratha partha nanyar astiti vadina kamatmana svargapara janma karma phala pradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishvarya gating prati. Men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there's nothing more than this. Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam tayapahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nityasatvasto Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of the three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. Yavan artha udapane sarvata sampluto dake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanata. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purposes of the Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalahetur bhur ma te sangostva karmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvang yoga uchyate. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga. Durena hyavaram karma buddhi yogardhananjaya buddhau sharanamanvicha kripana phalahetava. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. Kripana phalahetava. They're misers, kripana. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukrita dushkrite tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karma sukoshalam. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work. Karma jang buddhi yuktahi palang taktva manishina janma bandha vinir mukta padam gachantyana mayam. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. Yes, by engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in this material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead. Yadate mohakalilang buddhir vyati tarishyati tadakantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Shruti vipratipannate yadastasyati nishchala samadavachala buddhis tada yogam avapsyasi. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Okay, so that was Krishna's instructions on Nishkam Karma Yoga and Buddhi Yoga. Now, from now until the end of this chapter, we're going to hear about Sthita Pragya, the qualities of a liberated soul, a Jivan Mukta. So first, this next verse will be Arjuna's questions about a Sthita Pragya, one of fixed intelligence. And then Krishna will describe the symptoms of a Sthita Pragya, right? I think so, yeah. And then the Sthita Pragya's response to dualities, speech. Then the Sthita Pragya's sense control, sitting. He withdraws senses like a tortoise. Sense control is difficult even for the wise. It is possible only by Krishna Bhakti. One falls down in 8 stages due to the uncontrolled mind. And then finally, this chapter will conclude with the Sthita Pragya's sense engagement, his walking. So first, okay, Arjuna asks about how does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? And so then Krishna is giving the answers to this. First, he gives the symptoms. Then, this first section is about his speech. The second section, verses 58 to 63, is about his sitting, his sense control, in other words. And then the last section is his fourth answer to Arjuna's question, is the Sthita Pragya's sense of engagement, in other words, walking. By attaining the Lord's mercy, one's intelligence is established and one attains peace. Agitated senses carry away the intelligence, and a Sthita Pragya is unagitated. And then the qualities and destination of one who is of fixed intelligence, Sthita Pragya. That's how this chapter ends. Okay, so 54 to 72. Arjuna Uvacha Sthita Pragyasya ka bhasha Samadhistasya Keshava Sthita dhiking prabhasheta Kim asita vrajeta kim. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? Okay, so there are 4 questions here. The symptoms of one who is merged in conscious and transcendence, who is a fixed intelligence, Sthita Pragya. So what are his symptoms? How does he speak? How does he sit? And how does he walk? 4 questions. Now Krishna is going to answer each one of these. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushta sthita pragyasya tadochate. So here's the answer to the first question. Here are the symptoms of Sthita Pragya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness, Sthita Pragya. Now here's a question, answer to the Sthita Pragya's response to dualities, how he speaks. Dukeshvanudvigna mana, sukeshu vigata spriha, vitaraga bhaya krodha, sthita dhir muniruchate. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady minds, stitadhi. Ya sarvatra nabhishne snehas tat prapya shubha shubham na abhinandati na dveshti tasya pragya pratishtita. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So that was the answer to the second question. Now the answer to the third question. Sthita Pragya's sense control, his sitting. It goes up to verse 63. Yada sangharate chayam kurmungani vasarvasha indriyan indriyartebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya parang drishtva nivartate. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Yatato hyapikonteya purushasya vipashchita indriyani pramathini haranti prasabhang mana. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind of even a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Tani sarvani samyamya yuktaya sitamatpara vashehi yasyendriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. Dhyayato vishayan pungsa sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho bijayate. While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. Krodad bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhrangshat buddhi nasho, buddhi nashat pranashyati. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. So that was the answer to the third question. Now the answer to the fourth question, the Sthitapragya's sense engagement, how he walks. And this is till the end, verse 72. We're almost at the end, 71 actually. Why did I think there's 72 verses? Okay. Raga dvesha vimuktaistu vishayan indriyaishcharan atmavasyar videyatma prasadam adhigacchati. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajáyate prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi paryavatishtate. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exists no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. Nashti buddhir ayuktasya, na cha yuktasya bhavana, na cha bhavayata shantir, ashantasya kuta sukham. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Indriyanam hi charatan yan mano no vidiyate tad asya harati pragyam vayurnavam ivam bhasi. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvasha indriyan indriyarthebhyas tasya pragya pratishtita. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. He is sthitta pragya. Ya nisha sarva bhutanam tasyam jagarti samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashyato mune. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam samudramapa pravishanti advat tadvat kamayang pravishanti sarve sashantimapnoti na kamakami. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Vihaya kaman yasarvan pumangs charati nispriha nirmamo nirahankara sa shantim adhigacchati. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship, and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Okay, so now here, this is the last verse of the chapter. Esha brahmi stiti partha nainang prapya vimuhyati stitvasyam antakalepi brahma nirvanam richati. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Jai Śrīmad Bhagavad-gītā ki Jai. Jai Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chandra ki Jai. Jai Śrī Arjuna ki Jai. The translations of Śrīla Prabhupāda ki Jai. All right, so that is our reading for today. Tomorrow I will go through the summary of these first two chapters, just so that we can get a good idea of the flow of Bhagavad-gītā. And then we will go through chapters, what is it? I think we're going through chapters 1, 3 to 5 tomorrow. Every day, though, we're reading around 5,000 words. So today went a bit longer because I went through the whole introduction. I wasn't planning on, like, I didn't think about that beforehand, about the whole prelude to the Bhagavad-gītā, and so that took some extra time. So I think tomorrow will end sooner than we are today. So yeah, tomorrow will be a shorter reading, I mean. But thank you so much for joining. I'll end with a short Mahamantra and Jai Dvani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju ki Jai, Jai Shri Guru Dev ki Jai, Shri Param Guru Dev ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Swapashad Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Gana ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Jai Śrīmad Bhagavad-gītā ki Jai. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chandra ki Jai. Śrī Arjuna ki Jai. Jai. All the commentaries of our acharyas on Bhagavad-gītā ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams Deepika Gupta Didi, Kana Haladar Prabhu, Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantra Murti Mataji, Yugal Kishore Kishori Didi, Chatamai Mataji, and let's see on YouTube and Facebook who's all there. Haripriya Didi, Sudevi Didi, Parvati Jalani, Ganga Mataji, Vrinda Didi, Patita Pavani Didi, Suman Shilji, Vidyalalasa Didi, and yeah, everybody else. Dandavat pranams. And also, and Indira Mataji, I'm guessing she's there right now. And all the devotees watching in the future, Dandavat pranams. See you all tomorrow for verses 3 to 5. As I said, we will end sooner than we did today. Today went on a bit longer because of all the extra stuff I read at the beginning. All right. Haribol. Wait, there's a question here. Yugal Kishore Kishori Didi is asking, is Srimad Bhagavatam verses saying in the same way how we sing Bhagavad-gītā? Yes. So most of the Bhagavad-gītā verses, like 95% of the Bhagavad-gītā verses probably, or 85% at least, they are in the meter called Anushtup. Anushtup. And it's the same meter as verses like Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha, or Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Vrindaya Tulasi Devaya Priyaya Keshava. That's that meter. The most simple, small meter of Sanskrit verses is called Anushtup. So yeah, Bhagavad-gītā is in that same meter. Oh, most of the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are also in that same meter. All right. Dandavat pranams. Thank you so much for joining. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Oh, and if you want to know, like if anybody watching on YouTube, on YouTube or Facebook, if you want to know how to come into Zoom, you can join our WhatsApp group, Bhakti-vinod-giti-dhara. That's where I send out the links and make announcements for all of our daily programs. You can find the link to that on my website, vineofdevotion.com. You can go there, and I recommend you subscribe so that you never miss any new programs that we're doing and things like that. But yeah, I just made a post late last night, or early this morning, actually. It was like 12:30 when I sent it. And I tell the details of all of our programs throughout the month, concluding 2024. So everything that we're going to do in December and my plans for 2025. You can find all the details of that on my website, vineofdevotion.com, and you can join a WhatsApp group to get updated with the daily program also. All right. Haribol. Dandavat pranams. See you tomorrow. Oh, and never mind. Haribol Yashoda Didi and Mantra Murti Mataji. Did I forget to mention the name?